Hello, welcome to this another video on Java tutorials. So today we are going to talk about Java inheritance. So in the last video we discussed about the Java constructors. So today we are going to discuss about this Java inheritance. So let's discuss it with the help of an example. So in the previous videos I've made this class, this is a person class, and you can create objects out of this person class. So as you can see that this person class has three attributes, it's the name of a person, their age and their height. And I have defined two different kind of constructors in order to create this person object. So you can pass two parameters, create a person object, or you can pass three parameters, still create a person object, or you can even create a person class without passing any calling any constructor. So this is like a default constructor. So basically, you will not have any one of these attributes populated when you create an object. So let's take the example of inheritance. Actually, what's the use of inheritance? Why do we want to use inheritance actually? So let's take this example. Let's we have a student. We just take example of a we can take example of a student, or it could be any other different kind of maybe an employee or teacher, anything. So the main purpose is if we are talking about a student, then if we know that student is also a person actually. So what it means is what are the property a person has, student also has the same set of properties, but student also have few additional properties, like our attributes. You can say he has a student ID, or the courses they are taking in the college, those kind of stuff actually. So let's go ahead and create a new class. We call it student. And what we want to do here is superclass. We're saying student is extending from person actually, because we already know this person class is there. We created it actually. So let's create it here. So as you can see, there's we say student class, and it extends from the person. So it means student class is going to inherit all the properties or all the methods which are defined in the person class. So it means this student, you can define some additional properties or attributes in the student class. So let's say we want to define, let's say each student will have a student ID, or they will have some kind of subject they're going to study. So we say subject. And let's define a constructor for this student class. So let's say student, and the constructor we want to define is, so as you can see, this we have this two variables here, but we know it extends from person. So student has really 5 properties now, because there are 2 of them we defined here, and there are 3 properties which a student is going to inherit from there. So these are also inherited by the student actually. So let's say we say student, and let's say we know that person has a name. We're going to construct, so they have a age, they also have we put the height there, and then they have these 2 properties here. We call it, let's say, student ID, which is we just put it to integer here, and we said the subject. Okay, so now what we can do is, so we can say this dot student ID, because subject we can assign subject here. We are trying to just make this one. So before that, we can do is this dot student equal to, So what we're trying to do is whatever we pass here, so whatever the constructor parameters we're passing here, we're just trying to assign this. So we assign these two here because they are defined in this class. What are the other these three actually? We know that there is a constructor and that's available in the person class. So what we can do is in the constructor we can call the constructor of the superclass, and the superclass is person. So what we can do here is we can say we have to use this keyword called super, so it means it's going to refer to the constructor in this particular class because that's the superclass, and we call student as the subclass. We can also say this is a parent and this is a child class. So we are going to pass in the super, we're going to pass the name, we're going to pass the age, we're going to pass the height. So if you click on this one, it will take you to the person. So basically it's going to call this constructor. So as you can see now this student has a constructor with 5 parameters, but 3 of them we have to really call the constructor of the superclass, which is a person, but for others we have to just assign these values to here. So this is one of the main use of inheritance actually. What will happen is, let's say if you add a new, let's say you can add a new variable here. Let's say you add for a person you have a name, you have an age, and here's a height, but you can also add other attributes of a person. Let's say we can add another attribute here. Let's say profession. If you want to just you can add this profession here. So it means when you add a property here, the student will automatically inherit that property as well actually. So that's the whole point of this inheritance, because I'm not going to add it here, but if you add a property, that will get inherited by all the subclasses of that particular superclass. So we have this student class. Now let's say go to this main, and what we're going to do in the main is, let's say you can create a student class. You can say student s equal to new student, and now if you see the parameters here, you have the name, which is let's say Mike. After that you have the age, then you have the height, which is let's say 5'8", then you have the student ID, we say 111, and then we get subject is science. Now we created a new student here, and you can create as many as different student objects you want. So that's the whole point of having these classes. So let's say try to print something out of this one. Let's say print name equal to, we know this as dot name, or we can try to print the, let's say what subject you're reading, subject equal to and subject so let's say we just save this, we just try to run it. So you can see, okay, so yeah, let's put it little ln, so it means it goes to the next line. So what it printed here, you see the name is Mike, subject equal to science, but let's put a line here so that you can see it on 2 different lines here. So name is subject, name is Mike, and the subject is science. So that's the whole use of this inheritance. Basically inherit, you can inherit the properties of your parent class, or we call it superclass. So in this case, parent is the person class, student is the subclass or child class, and this is the keyword you use to inherit. And you can, in Java, you can only inherit from one class. You can't have more than one here. You can't have person, and you can't have like another class here. It will give you compilation error. So you can only inherit from one class. So it supports single inheritance from the single object. So there are other ways to do like multiple kind of inheritance, but there are different ways like interfaces. You can use those interfaces, but for now I think we're going to restrict this video only up to this inheritance. And the main purpose of having inheritance is to increase the reusability of the code actually. So for now, that's all. So I will see you in the next video.